BMW claims to have invented the sporting SUV with the X5 in 1999. That much is open for debate, but what isn't open for debate is that this car is hugely successful. Over 3.1 million cars have been sold over 4 generations. Now, there's a new X5, the G65, not to be confused with the Mercedes G-Wagon. Now, this car is the first to have not just a petrol, diesel or plug-in hybrid powertrain, but also an all-electric iX5 and a hydrogen version as well. Let's take a closer look. The new X5 is the 5th generation of BMW's seminal SUV. But while it looks like the Neue Klasse iX3 and shares a lot of the same tech, it's actually based on the outgoing cluster architecture, hence it being part of the G series and not the new NA series. BMW says that the Neue Klasse's more efficient packaging was not required here because the car is so big, being just shy of 5 meters long. Having a combustion engine platform has allowed the X5 to launch with 4 different powertrain configurations: petrol, diesel, plug-in hybrid, and full electric. An iX5 hydrogen model will follow in 2028, and the main innovation here is the slim hydrogen tanks that sit where the battery lives on the EV, so interior space remains the same. But that won't be of much use to Malaysians unless you are, you know, Abang Joe. The front of the car is very similar to the iX3. You've still got these twin panels that reach all the way out to the edge of the car, and they taper as well. You've also got these vertical kidney grills that hark back to the original Neue Klasse vehicles from the 1970s. On this car, they're a bit bigger than you have on the iX3 for a more imposing appearance. What's new on this car is this X graphic. This is very bold and it's a little bit showy, not unlike the 3-pointed stars that you have on some Mercedes-Benz models these days. And as you can see, it kind of looks like the X logo, you know, the social media formerly known as Twitter. You might say you might get some copyright infringement claims, but I highly doubt that. Also, one of the product experts here told me that this was actually the first time he's heard of it. I have a hard time believing that, given that, you know, this car has been designed for quite a long time, but there you go. Now, this thing is quite polarizing. I can understand that, but you can switch off these beams over here. You can just have the diagonal slashes just like you would have on the iX3. What's cool here is that this gap over here houses the low beams. That's actually really cool. I've never seen a light bar able to create such a high level of light output from such a slim and compact lens. The high beams are actually separate from the low beam in the center over here, and that means that if one of these things flashes you on the highway, you know they mean business. Along the side, you can really see the extra length over the iX3. That's most apparent in the really long rear overhang. As with the iX3, you get really nice muscular forms over the front and rear wheel arches and this really clean body side. Now, this is made even cleaner still by the fact that this car does not get conventional door handles, not even pop-out ones. Instead, you have these winglets over here. Just like on the Volvo EX60, these are electronic releases. There's not even a button on the inner surface over here. You simply pull on it and the doors will open. Now, with regards to the upcoming Chinese regulations regarding the banning of such electric door handles, BMW says that it is completely compliant with these regulations because in the unlikely event of an accident, the car will automatically enable a mechanical release that will happen as soon as you just pull on this door handle. Oh, and also automatic powered doors are available as an option for the first time. At the back here, you've got these really wide taillights, just as you've got on the iX3. The only difference here is that these light guides have this sort of wavy effect. And just like on the iX3, you have this central valley for the BMW badge. The same is true for the front bonnet as well. Now, let's have a look on the inside. Inside, the general layout is very similar to the iX3, but one look at this dashboard and you realize this is a much more expensive car. This car feels very luxurious, and you can spec this car with genuine merino leather like on this BMW individual car, and this also gets you an Alcantara dashboard and door cards and even the seats as well. I think that looks really rather cool. In addition to this, you can spec this car with the usual aluminium, wood and carbon fiber finishes, but you can also get slate over here. Yes, a stone interior. And you can also have, crystal controls down here as well. And this silver panel over here is slightly translucent, so you can see this almost wavy effect on the ambient lighting. I think that looks really rather cool. As with those other cars, you get this new style steering wheel with the spokes at the top and bottom because there is no instrument cluster behind for it to block. Now, this is a bit weird, I must admit, and some of you might not like it, but luckily there is an M Sport steering wheel with the spokes down here for a more conventional appearance. Whichever version you choose, you get these capacitive touch controls over here, which isn't all that great. But there are some indents over here and there is some haptic feedback, so it's not all too bad. Over in the center, you've got this 17.9-inch parallelogram infotainment touchscreen. It's angled towards the driver and it runs on BMW Operating System X, an Android-based system that is more intuitive to use than previous systems. The main thing is that their settings aren't strewn all over the app drawer. Instead, you have this centralized menu over here, which is really good to see. One thing though, just like all the latest models, the powered air vents have to be adjusted through the screen. This is one area where I wished BMW didn't copy Tesla. New on the X5 is this optional passenger display, first seen on the 7 Series LCI. You've got this 21/9-inch display, and that allows passengers to play video games or watch videos and so on, if they are into that sort of thing. As is typical for the X5, there is plenty of room. Now, I'm 170 centimeters tall and this seat is set to my driving position, and as you can see, there's loads of legroom. I can also slide my feet underneath the front seats, even though this seat is in the lowest position, and headroom, there's plenty of it as well. You've also got these pillows for the armrest and the headrest. For this car, you do get a panoramic glass roof, and this time there is a powered sunshade as well. One thing that's not quite so great is that this car, you can't recline the rear seats and you can't slide the seats front and back for more room and so on. Now, this car is only available as a 5-seater. There was previously an option for a 7-seater, not in Malaysia, but evidently there was not a lot of demand for it, and anyway, there is a 7-seater X7 as well, so they decided there's no need for that. A quick side note about the boot space. There's plenty of it, 655 litres to be exact, expandable to 1,850 litres with the rear seats folded. Plug-in hybrid models have a smaller 525 litre boot. X5 diehards will bemoan the loss of the Range Rover style split tailgate, but the good news is there's a frunk, but it's small. So small in fact, BMW hasn't bothered with quoting an actual figure as yet. From launch at the end of the year, the X5 will come in 2 variants, the X540 petrol and the X540D diesel. Both are powered by a 3-litre turbo straight 6 that produces 400 PS and 313 PS respectively, with a 48-volt mild hybrid system and an 8-speed ZF Auto. Plug-in hybrids will join at the start of next year, with the X550e and M60e pairing the petrol straight 6 with a 197 PS electric motor for a total of 490 PS and 612 PS respectively. Both deliver an electric range of up to 100 kilometers on the WLTP cycle. The big news here is the iX5 60, powered by dual motors that produce 578 PS and 800 Nm of torque, getting this 2.9-ton Leviathan to 100 km per hour in 4.6 seconds. More impressive is the NMC battery that is a whopping 141 kWh, the largest ever fitted to a BMW EV. That enables a WLTP range of up to 845 km. It's also the fastest charging BMW EV to date, with an 800-volt electrical architecture to support DC fast charging at 460 kilowatts. Even so, with such a big battery, a 10 to 80% top-up still takes 23 minutes. So there you have it, the brand new BMW X5 and iX5. What do you think of the looks and the specs? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe, everyone.